My beloved child, you've recently examined yourself and asked if I still perceive you in the same manner. Would he still choose me after everything? You have wondered in a low voice, wondering if my feelings for you have altered, and if the distance you felt was sufficient to disqualify you. Here's my response, unambiguous and timeless. The person I picked is still you. It wasn't your fault that I chose you. I didn't call you because you got everything correct. I chose you with the knowledge of every valley you would traverse, every error you would make, and every moment you would feel undeserving. I still picked you. My mind hasn't changed. I never will either. From the beginning, you had a name in my heart before you had a name in this world. I found you deserving of love without waiting to see how your life would turn out. I did not consider your anguish in relation to your potential. I didn't put any restrictions on your call. I knew every possible scenario when I made my decision to choose you, your happiness, failure, perplexity, and quiet. I was not afraid of any of it. I was not surprised by any of it. Despite seeing everything, I insisted. This one is mine. You've used your worst moments to gauge yourself. You have permitted yourself to be redefined by the echo of shame. You've pondered whether the story was altered when you were apart from me throughout certain seasons. No, it wasn't. I didn't cross out your name. I never took your place. I've always called you mine. My hand was always there for you, even when you were roaming. I wasn't waiting for you to tidy up while quietly observing. Even when you were unable to hear, I was whispering reminders of your identity as we walked through the dust. You drifted and felt I had abandoned you. Actually, though, I took a step forward. I didn't back down. What you believed was lost was preserved by me. What you believed was ruined, I covered. Delay and diversion are the lenses through which you view yourself. Through the prism of design, I perceive you. Your heart's weariness didn't take away the purpose I gave you. Life became heavy, yet the calling I whispered over you remained. It still exists. It's alive. I'm reawakening it now too. Not because I'm giving you another chance, but because I never took away the first one. I'm aware of the experiences you have had. You've tried to forget what I know. There are times you'd want to keep hidden from me. Beyond those times, though, I am also aware of your true self. I am aware of the vulnerability you buried to keep yourself safe. I am aware of the compassion that resurfaces after you have quieted the commotion. I understand how brave you had to be to live when you couldn't flourish. I respect it all. Dearest child, if these words are touching your heart, show your love and help carry this mission forward by clicking on Super Thanks. You don't have to give me an explanation for your absence. I may offer restoration without an apology. I don't wait for the ideal disclosure, my darling. The ache is where it meets you. It comes up when you're still not sure if you can trust people again. That is the function of grace. First, it moves. It makes contact with you before you are able to return the contact. Here we are now, both of us. I'm not examining your past either. I'm observing your heart, here at this very moment. Still hungry, open, and mentally stable. You were never forgotten. I was there, not in judgment, but in compassion, even when you lost the ability to pray and when you no longer felt important. I tallied all the tears you held back. Every query you concealed behind diversions was heard by me. I waited out of love rather than impatience, knowing that this day would arrive, this softening, this remembering, this return. I waited. I now want you to comprehend something that will alter the way you move forward. No one ever chose you. Even now, you are selected. Continuous present tense, everlasting. You aren't here to regain your status. A place that was never stolen from you is where you live. That's why, when I speak, your spirit still reacts. Because of this, you sense my presence even when you believe you are too far away, because you were never excluded. Only you were hurt. I'm currently healing that. The voice that tells you that you've wasted too much time should be ignored. Release yourself from the need to be someone you're not. I've moved on without you, so stop worrying. No, I have not. I'm as fast as you're coming back. Your guilt cannot escape my grace. My kindness rewrites your name until you think it was never removed. You have not lost your capacity for joy, your deservingness of peace, your selection for influence, your anointing for tenderness, or your capacity to bear the light. Despite the darkness you have experienced, you are not who the suffering claimed you were. I still say you are who you are. Now raise your head once more. It's because you're permitted to return to my presence, not because you deserve it, not as a visitor, but as someone who is always welcome. Allow the lies to drift away from you like dust. Let the humiliation fall like shackles. Remind yourself of what has always been true. The person I picked is still you. Furthermore, I didn't pick you at random. Knowing everything, I chose you. And I still do. You've long held the view that my love for you was brittle, that my decision hinged on your actions. You thought it just took one bad turn, one silent season, one ignored prayer for me to reconsider. Let me speak to the very center of your existence, though. I considered all the factors when I chose you, not simply what you display to others, not only the times you got it right. Everything was visible to me. The moments when you wanted to give up, the questions you muttered in private, the reluctance, the shame, and the portions of your story you wished I had forgotten. I didn't overlook them. I knew them before they happened. Nevertheless, I said yes. Because of your perfection, you were never selected. Your design is what got you picked. Because of the intention I inserted into you during the silent formation that preceded the drawing of your first breath. That was no coincidence. That wasn't a random act. When I wrapped your name in purpose and pronounced it good, there was no casualness involved. I was aware of who you would be. I was aware of how much you would weigh. I knew the world would attempt to rebrand, redefine, and degrade you in ways I was aware of. I was aware of how I would continue to draw you back, though. The truth is back. It's back to belonging. Come back to me. You are closer than you realize. Before your mind had a chance to react, your soul did. It's recognition, that nagging ache, that stirring you sense. Your spirit is recalling what it means to be selected. It's for presence, not performance. To still be desired and well known. To receive love because I'm the one who is still writing the story, not because of it. Too much, too sensitive, too inconsistent, too far gone. You've called yourself that. Perhaps others concurred. Their tone, their silence, and the way they withdrew when you most needed them might have all been signs of it. How that shaped you, I know. I am aware of how painful rejection is. You rapidly learn to defend yourself by becoming smaller, quieter, and safer, and I'm aware of this. I never withdrew, though, and I say this in a healing voice rather than an angry one. I didn't keep my distance. Your name was always called by me. You were not intended to live in hiding, even when you turned away, when the suffering seemed more genuine than my assurances. And even when you weren't paying attention. You are not supposed to live your entire life expressing regret for the way your heart continues to beat. It is not intended for you to think that being in love requires constant work. Because of what you provide me, I don't love you. Because you are mine, I adore you. Knowing that you would wander, I chose you. I chose you because I knew that one day worship would seem meaningless and faith would feel burdened. I chose you because I knew it would be difficult for you to experience this type of love, and you were still my choice. Let it settle. Breathe it into your chest. Let it silence the untruth that says you've overreached yourself. Let the voice that tells you that you must start afresh in order to be discovered again be silenced. You do not. You've already been located. You're already detained. Already, you're taking steps toward recovery, not because you laid everything out precisely, but because you let me get close even though you claimed you didn't deserve it. You don't have to change in order to be mine. Rewriting the past is not necessary to gain your way back. That redemption of yours is not brittle. It isn't dependent. It is not dependent on your sense of worth. It depends on what I decide. And before the world had started, I made the decision that you would be mine, that light would be a part of your life, that your heart would continue to beat gracefully despite its injuries. Indeed, it does. The person I picked is still you, and you weren't my first choice because of what you could do for me. I picked you in order to walk alongside you, so that I could literally show you what love looks like. I would like to remind you again that you are never too wounded or too far gone for me. I've pronounced over your life that nothing can disqualify you. The calling continued despite the detours. The voice remained audible despite the silence. I wasn't scared off by the frailty. I was drawn in. Let me now remain near. Let me continue to rebuild you, not under duress, but just by being there. Allow me to teach you how to breathe once more, with freedom, not with dread. Come back to yourself with me softly, the version of yourself that was always yourself. This moment is not yours to earn. It just needs to be given to you. Here you can rest. Do not forget this. Everything was known to me. Nevertheless, I said yes, with joy, not grudgingly or conditionally. The person I picked is still you, and you would always be my first choice. You've been sitting about, wondering if you missed it, if too much time has gone by, or if too many detours have prevented you from reaching your goal. You didn't say anything. Did you put something in me and I lost it? Once you sensed the calling clearly, strongly, and even with excitement. Life, however, happened. Your enthusiasm was sapped by disappointment. You started to doubt everything after failing. People you had faith in left. The flame also started to flicker sometime along the road. Perhaps it was never real, you said. It might have been your imagination. What once burned so brightly within you may have been meant to be carried by someone else. But now I want you to hear me clearly. The reason I put you here is still alive. It survived the death of your confidence. Quietness didn't make it go away. When you went, it stayed behind. It has been awaiting your consent rather than your perfection, awaiting the time when you would raise your head once more, waiting for the moment when you might think it might not be over for a moment, that you're not done yet. That time has come. I didn't call you because of emotional buzz or momentum. It was predicated on my knowledge. I recognized you. I knew what you would experience. I understood how your spirit would ache and ache again. I still considered every aspect of you while creating your calling, Not only the polished portions, but also the damaged ones. Not just when you feel like you're on fire, but also when you're left with only a faint no. With it, I can work. I'm working on that. Perhaps you're unsure about where to begin. That's all right. You are not beginning with nothing. You are beginning with surrender, alignment, and truth. The ideal place for purpose to flourish has always been there. You believed that you required a platform. You felt that you required clarification. Before you could be of any service again, you believed you needed to rebuild all you had lost. I do not, however, hire people based solely on their resumes. I work with willing, honest people who show up no matter what. You are now who you are, and that is more than sufficient. I want to remind you of what you are carrying. Your perceived compassion did not disqualify you. It is what establishes your credibility. The scars you attempted to conceal have grown into the foundation of profound empathy. You used to despise the sensitivity. I tuned your spirit so you could plainly hear me. The seasons that seemed to be a waste were actually quiet, essential, and foundational work. Nothing I went through with you was in vain. Not a single delay, not one tear. I've collected every moment and am transforming it into something sacred. Time has not been lost. I am time's redeemer. I have already woven into your future what you believe you have missed. You think it's too late. I'm already ready to blossom when the time is right. You don't have to go back and make all the corrections. All you have to do is come back to me, and we start over now that you have, from precisely where you are, not from the beginning. The depth, the gentleness, the wisdom you now possess. In your early years, those things did not exist, but they do now. What follows will therefore be deeper, richer, and more comprehensive than anything you have ever experienced. You're not expected to construct a massive structure. You're being urged to live frank, to walk closely, and to bring my light into every area you enter, with peace, not with force. Real purpose looks like that. Impact, not fame, not noise. And you'll start to notice it. It's because you've aligned, not because you're trying. People will begin to notice your change. They will feel secure in your presence. They will pose a variety of queries. They won't know why, but they'll stay with you longer. When someone walks in purpose, that's how it appears. It isn't always noisy. It isn't always apparent. But because it originates from me, it has power. And where dread still mutters, "What if I don't succeed again?" Let me say it aloud. You can fall and I'll still be there. I'm not weak. I can't break my calling over you. Detours don't cause me to disavow my purpose. I gently reaffirm it. You're not making a fresh start. You're advancing with a stronger base, more genuine strength, and a better knowledge of who you and I are. Avoid comparing your pace to others. Don't evaluate yourself based on the work of others. Remain in your lane. Have faith in what I've given you. It fits you. It is molded to fit your voice, your steps, and your story. Nobody else is able to walk it. What has been given to you cannot be carried by anyone else. It might seem insignificant to you, but see what I do with it. See how I increase what has been given up. See how I revive what you believe to be dead. Therefore, even if you are trembling, take the first step. Talk about what's been brewing. Talk about what you used to silence. When it appeared too distant, reach for it. This is not unique to you. You're not being sent. I'll accompany you. You will be guided by my spirit. You will be sustained by my grace. You will always be reminded that you are still the person I choose by my presence. and you still serve the purpose I gave you. You may now walk without any pressure. The burden you've carried, the internal pressure to succeed, the need to perform flawlessly, and the ongoing anxiety about being sufficient. I didn't do any of it. You never had to deal with that. Your calling was never built on that. What only my spirit was intended to hold, you were never supposed to carry. You learnt to gauge your value by your accomplishments, the degree of approval you received from others, and the apparent visibility or value of your work. I witnessed it. I witnessed the way it kept you awake at night. I observed how, despite your faithfulness, it caused you to wonder if you were failing. I witnessed how you hid happiness under fatigue and referred to it as compliance. However, I never asked you to rush into your goals. I never put anything on you in the first place, and I never asked you to exhaust yourself trying to fulfill it. This has always been my invitation. Join me on a walk. Don't run ahead of me. Do not seek out your value. Simply keep your heart open, pace steady, and breathe in unison while you walk side by side. Happiness resides there. That's the flow of clarity. Your spirit will then remember that being with me is about more than just putting on a show. It has to do with presence. I now beg you to have faith that it's acceptable to live this way, gently, honestly, completely, without striving, without comparison, and without feeling that every day must be a spectacular demonstration of advancement. There will be peaceful days. There will be days that seem slow, but I'm still working in that silence. I'm still moving in that slowness. In my realm, progress is not always apparent. It's usually quiet, anchored, and profound. Resting is not a sign of laziness. You're smart. You're following the beat of grace faithfully. The voice that warns you that resting is dangerous should be ignored, that you will lag behind if you stop pushing, that you will forfeit what you have been given if you cease producing. I don't have such voices. Fear, not love, is the source of them. I take my time creating things. I don't put any pressure on my plants. What I restore is not shamed by me. I'm not behind schedule with the version of you that I stroll with now. You're exactly on schedule. I also set a peaceful pace for you, but that doesn't imply nothing will happen. I will still invite you to go out, though. However, this is what it means. Overflow will be the source of every movement, not duty from confidence, not stress from happiness, not fear. I'm not attempting to extract more from you. I'm extending an invitation to you. Greater clarity, greater presence, and more joy in being wholly mine without having to bear the weight of outcomes. You've already witnessed the results of pressure, disconnection, humiliation, and burnout. Let me now demonstrate the results of freedom: inventiveness, empathy, kinship, and lasting peace. Your hands will be open when you start to move without worrying about missing me. Your heart becomes softer. Your vision becomes clear. You may once more perceive people as human beings rather than as tasks. You start to view yourself once more as a person, a loved one, rather than as a project. To demonstrate that your life counts, you don't have to accomplish something extraordinary. You are already important. You already have a lot of spiritual weight. When you are anchored in me, your presence turns into ministry. Your listening becomes therapy. Your quiet becomes holy. When presence increases and pressure decreases, that is what occurs. Without hurrying, correcting, or overcommitting yourself, you make yourself available to me, to yourself, and to the people I've trusted you to love. Yes, I will continue to open doors. I will continue to present opportunities. However, I will also show you how to refuse. I'll demonstrate how to select rest. Let me remind you that your value was never determined by your accomplishments. You belong to me, and it's in who you are. Thus, serve without striving, love without fear, and walk without urgency. Instead of being afraid to disappoint, let your yes be filled with excitement. Let intelligence, not guilt, be the source of your no. I'm not keeping an eye on your pace to offer criticism. You and I are walking it together. Your stride is the same as mine. When to slow down, I know. I am aware of when to raise your chin. I'm skilled at reminding you. No, you're not lagging. You're getting used to living with me. Remind yourself of this fact whenever the outside world tries to drag you back into performance, pressure, or proof. Now you're free. Your seat at the table is no longer yours to earn. It's where you sit. A crown is no longer your employer. You're wearing one already. You aren't waiting for love anymore. You are forever. You don't have to worry about me changing my mind to go for a walk. I won't. You don't need to be praised to walk. You already make me happy. You don't have to know what to do next. You can just walk. I can already see where we're headed. So take it slow. Walk all the way. Feel free to move about, since I picked you for this. To stay, not to flee. To build, not to burn out. To provide peace, not to prove. You no longer need to strive to be sufficient. You are already. And I'm with you at every turn. Something lovely is starting to happen now that you've let go of the pressure and that you no longer base your worth on how much you carry. You're already creating a path, even if you can't see it yet. Not because you've accomplished anything noteworthy, but rather because you've grown into a genuine, complete, and anchored person. The type of person whose life exudes a silent power that, without uttering a word, changes moods. That impact had to be loud, you thought. That impact had to manifest as visibility or leadership. However, weight isn't determined by volume in my kingdom. It is determined by its presence, as well as the presence you now enter, the silence that you now bear, the tranquility all around you. Without attempting, intending, or even realizing it, it's creating room for others to breathe once more. Around you, people feel different now. They might be unable to identify it. They might not even know why. But they slow down because of you. There's something about your voice that calms them. They don't know why, but something about your eyes makes them feel secure. I am that something. It's my presence permeating you. You're living as someone who belongs, not because you're attempting to be spiritual. You're not trying to be important anymore. Just by being in alignment, you're walking in significance. How can I lead? Is not what you're asking. People automatically follow your manner of living. You are not superior to anyone. They're seated next to you, and that is what distinguishes them. The healing is made possible by that. You're here. You're paying attention. Because you have experienced your own pain, you don't fear that of others. You are familiar with the sensation of being held. You now understand how to make room for others without having to perform or mend anything. This is a sign of spiritual growth, not perfection, not control, but accessibility. And anointing now accompanies your availability. It conveys clarity. I am carried by it. You don't have to plan it. There's no reason to push it. Simply remain yourself. Continue to be truthful. When you could respond, continue to choose peace. When the world wants noise, don't make a sound. Little decisions like those are changing hearts, families, and conversations. But I'm not doing anything special, you could be thinking. That's precisely why it's effective, since there is no longer any pressure. You are pure. There isn't any insecurity involved. Shame isn't entangled with it. It has nothing to do with ambition. I'm the source of it. It's bearing the results of living in harmony with my soul. Furthermore, fruit always speaks louder than effort. This is how Jesus did it. Love in addition to power, not the other way around. Peace, not performance. Peace now flows through you because it resides within you. People will notice then. You will attract some. You might even be misinterpreted by some. It's all right. You're not here to make everyone understand you. The reason you are here is to stay true to what I have done to you. I'll move in areas you can't see while you do. I'll talk through things you considered unimportant. Through you, I will grant requests you won't even realize were made. You aren't a repairman. You are a light bearer, a witness, and a voice that carries heaven rather than echoing culture. And it's not necessary for that voice to be loud. It must be grounded, genuine, and in line. People now feel comfortable with you. You no longer have to be correct, not because you have all the answers. You now know how to stay, how to love without asking, and how to maintain your composure when fear arises. It's uncommon to see that level of presence. A presence like that has great power. So quit worrying about how much you're accomplishing. You are, just by staying, just by living in the knowledge that I am with you and that you are mine. Your presence is unmistakable even when it's not loud. It's not ostentatious, but it's sufficient and unbreakable. Allow me to keep using you in this way, not as a spotlight, but as a haven, a place where others can find tranquility, a place where people can recall what it's like to be accepted without fear of criticism, a place where love is unrestricted because the discourse is no longer dominated by fear. You are now that person. You are carrying something, and it is already moving in that direction. Stop downplaying your impact then. Don't wait for someone else to confirm your influence. Your life has already been spoken over by me. Your calling has already been confirmed by me. Every conversation you're about to enter has previously been prepared for by me. You may carry me without a title. To speak peace, you don't need credentials. All you have to do is stay present and open. It's true. I'll finish the rest. I will open the appropriate doors. I'll direct the appropriate language. I'll keep your heart safe. I'll bear the moments when you feel invisible, when the burden is heavy. Because you are remembered. You're not invisible. I'm sending you as a response to places that need me. I am aware that a part of you still wonders, can I really live like this? And whether all of this healing, tranquility, and clarity will endure, or if it is really a fleeting high point that will pass, like so many other things have. I can see how that terror consumes you. Seasons that began with hope and ended with disappointment have happened to you. You have experienced breakthroughs, only to feel adrift again shortly after. However, I must inform you about this. This isn't a passing moment. You are now this person. You felt more than you could have imagined. You didn't pretend to be restored. Peace wasn't something you forced. You gave up. You made an opening. You let me in. And as a result, you experienced a permanent change. Permanent, although not flawless. Something independent of how well you do. Something that endures despite changes in your emotions. Something that is ingrained in me. I also don't change. You've made it back to where you belong. the place where shame is no longer a second nature to you, the point at which being soft is no longer a vulnerability, the location where tranquility is something you carry with you, rather than something you visit. You don't need to prepare for collapse anymore. You don't need to worry about this version of yourself going away. Since it isn't based on emotion, it won't. It is based on the truth. Truth also endures. It gets deeper. Therefore, let go of the worry that you will revert to your former self. That individual is no longer in command. You are no longer the version of yourself who lived to please, to hide, to survive. You've left that location. We've re-entered you by my grace, not your strength, and you can now walk with a quiet, unwavering stability, because you no longer mistake adversity for failure, not because life will always feel simple. You've mastered the art of remaining silent with me. When things don't go as planned, you've learned to be in the moment. You now understand that my love is not reliant on your actions or behavior. It stems from who I have proclaimed you to be. You now operate based on that reality. The anchor remains in place even when doubts murmur and days seem burdensome. I'm still there. You are too. You don't have to wonder if you're doing enough anymore. Your presence is sufficient. Your compliance is sufficient. Yes, your quietness, your unspoken loyalty, and your choice to be gentle in a harsh world, these are important. They are heavy. They speak louder than the work you put into establishing your worth. This is the mark of maturity, that you no longer give up when things are uncertain, not that everything is definite. I'm not expecting you to be flawless. I'm pleading with you to live in the moment, to stay true to who you are right now, and to live your life as someone who doesn't conceal, as someone who feels deserving of peace and who doesn't back down. Now, not someday. You belong to me, not if you reach the next milestone. Old voices will still try to reappear on some days, I'm sure of it. The old burden of inadequacy, the comparison, and the inner critic. However, you now know how to respond to those voices. They are not permitted to drive. They don't define who you are. You shine a light on them. You gave me a voice, and I always will. I'll remind you of the experiences we've shared. I will remind you of your essence rather than your feelings, because variations of you are not what I love. I cherish you, the whole you, the strong and still learning, the bold and occasionally unsure, the healed and healing. Knowing the complete story, I choose you. You are still my choice now, and I will continue to do so tomorrow. That's where you can rest. You can inhale that. From there, you can construct your life. Make this your new cadence, the steady pace of someone who already understands their home, rather than the hectic pace of seeking to earn a spot. Allow that self-assurance to influence your self-talk. Allow it to influence how you present yourself to other people. Allow it to change how you enter spaces. Do I belong here? I didn't ask. Yet, understanding, I carry something sacred and I bring it with me. When things get tough, this version of you won't vanish. This is the version of you that understands how to come back, how to stay, how to rest, and that storms don't destroy identity. Rather, they expose roots. And your roots are now in me. Therefore, lead without pressure, speak gently, walk without apology, and rest guilt-free. You're not becoming anymore. You're being the person I always perceived, even if you weren't able to see it yet. Beneath the commotion, being who you've always been. Being a person who lives to bring peace, rather than to prove anything. I called you the same soul before the world gave you your name. I have whispered over you in every season, and you are the same child. You remain the person I selected. As of right now, you are also choosing yourself. Quietly, you have questioned, am I really ready? I understand what you mean, too. You're not inquiring about tactics or abilities. You want to know if your heart is genuinely complete, stable, and anchored enough to endure this. You're wondering whether you can keep what I've put inside of you without dropping it, reverting to old habits, or losing yourself in the process. And here is my response. Easy and accurate. You're prepared. It's because you've learned to stay, not because everything has been addressed. Feeling weak is not a prerequisite for being ready in my kingdom. It does not imply that you are always confident or that you are emotionally stable. It implies that you remain close while circumstances change. When it becomes quiet, you have stopped running. When the world gets too noisy, you will know where to go back to. That's what prepares you. That is what makes you unique. Now that you're perfect, I'm not sending you. Because of your newfound faithfulness, I'm sending you. My voice is now familiar to you once more. You've given me permission to change the names you concealed. You've allowed me to accompany you on your journey through memories that formerly turned you off. You took your time with the process. You took a seat in it. You allowed me to keep you until your identification became clear, in your bones as well as your head. Additionally, you no longer abandon yourself when fear arises. You stay. I can build upon that. Peace, not performance. Presence, not perfection. Not unbreakable strength, but unflinching surrender. The world frequently waits for people to appear prepared, polished, boisterous, and self-assured. However, I don't move like everyone else. Those who have learned to be authentic are anointed by me. Those who listen well, but don't talk too quickly. They have a quiet authority because they have met me in their own darkness. One of those is you. The lessons I have imparted to you in the secret locations are not intended to remain there. That healing has evolved into a language. That silence you put up with has evolved into discernment. That grace you were given when you were at your lowest, it has evolved into a source of compassion. Your current peace is not brittle. It has been demonstrated, and you have my trust. I have faith that you will bring it into areas that others still find burdensome. I have faith in you to maintain it when others are breaking. I have faith in you to maintain composure while others anticipate mayhem. You have grounded your life in the person who has the answers, not because you are the only one with them. You are now prepared to live in the light you had previously only dreamed of, to enter spaces you believed were off limits, and to totally, unapologetically, and openly show up. When it's time to relax, you're prepared to do so and to ascend. You don't have to appear a certain way when it's time to get up. All you have to do is remain near. Your readiness is that intimacy between us. Staying anchored no longer requires continual affirmation. You don't need to be saved from yourself anymore. You now know when to stop. You've developed your listening skills. You now know how to choose peace without seeking consent. Now let it be your beat. Allow it to influence how you enter spaces, how you talk, and how you decide what to do next. Clarity is no longer your goal. You reside there. You're not pleading to be picked anymore. You already were, as you remember. What if I'm not enough? Is no longer a question you ask, because your spirit now responds on your behalf. I am already. In the days to come, the way will still seem obscure. This time, however, you won't be afraid of the unknown. You will be aware of what to do. Stay put. I'm still with you. You'll remember that simply because the season changed, your name didn't. That it's not necessary to rekindle the inner light each morning. It remains on because it is associated with me. I maintain it. I keep it safe. When you're too exhausted, I'll carry it, and I'll keep doing it. You're not going into the future by yourself. You're taking my place. No one is pushing you. They're walking with you. I will open each door peacefully. My spirit will validate every affirmation I make over your life. Nothing will need to be forced. You won't feel the need to strive for what is meant for you. It will feel liberating. Breath will be the sensation. It will resemble me. So go forward, but take your time. Your becoming has no time limit. Your compliance doesn't put any pressure on you. Just stay put. Follow the path of peace. First, let love speak. Allow silence to create power. Allow each step you take to convey information that your voice no longer needs to. I'm not attempting to prove my belonging anymore. I've already been selected, and I know how to stick around. In my kingdom, preparedness looks like this. Not sound, but awareness. Not assurance, but surrender. Trust, not speed. And now you've reached that location. You've learned to stay, so yes, you're prepared, and I'll always be by your side. I want you to let go of the notion that everything must happen right away now that you've figured out how to stay. I finally understand how the world functions, how it signals that you need to move quickly if you're healed, that you must compensate for lost time if you are restored, that the burden of proof is on you if you've been selected. I move differently, though. I construct in a unique way, and I want you to understand this very well. I'll work with you to construct it gradually. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not giving your compliance due dates. I don't have high hopes for the first mile of the voyage. I don't want to watch you struggle to keep me in sight while you race ahead. I want to take a leisurely, cautious stroll with you. Life under strain is nothing new to you. You've already spent all of your energy attempting to live up to imaginary expectations. That is no longer the path to success. We now use presence rather than pace while building, not with roughness, but with grace. Together, let's shape this season. It's through rhythm, not performance. I'll show you when to talk and when to listen, when to get up and when to go to sleep, and when to move and when to wait. I'll guide you with moments rather than a map, with calm counsel that comes from relationships rather than a design that demands perfection. You're learning that right now. How to live in harmony with me, not how to conquer life. It is not necessary to plan your impact. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on yourself. The world confuses visibility with purpose. I think of it as faithfulness. Your platform is not necessary for me. I want your focus. I don't require a flawless plan. Permission to construct slowly, deeply, and wonderfully in a lasting way is what I need. If you feel that Jesus Christ has brought light and hope into your life, then come join us on this sacred journey. Subscribe to the channel and experience His love, peace, and blessings every day. In Jesus' name, amen.